My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, the Modonna Virus, Chapter 2, or Episode 2, Shelter and Safety. Keep in mind that this is an alternate universe, and it takes place during the events of Season 7 of My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. I don't have any editing software to edit and add background music of any kind, since I mostly use my Elgato to record gameplays, commentaries, reactions, and more like this. I do hope you all enjoyed the video / reading. Without further ado, let's get into the story of Chapter 2. It's been 24 hours now, and AppleCrust and Jed are still bunkered down in Jed's pub in Manhattan. As the windows and doors are all boarded up, they also grab weapons to defend themselves in case they get in. AppleCrust grabbed a pool cue duct taped with a knife at the end of the stick, while Jed grabbed his trusty baseball bat for protection. As they then stood behind the bar counter and watched as the zombies tried to get in, they started to come up with a backup plan for when or if they fully break into the bar. Jed, what is the backup plan that you have in mind for us? AppleCrust asked Jed in a worried and panicking voice. Jed then replied back to AppleCrust, saying something that AppleCrust never expected to him to say, anything like what he was about to tell him. I do have one idea of a plan of escape. However, you aren't going to like it, kiddo, he said, with a scared and worried look on his face. There is the second floor window that's available. However, one of us needs to buy time for the other to escape. I'll buy you some time, Apple. After hearing this, AppleCrust became very shocked and surprised by his words. What do you mean? Before AppleCrust could finish his sentence on asking his question, the doors and window broke and the infected started to break down the planks with their bare hoofs. Both Jed and AppleCrust panicked and galloped upstairs to the second floor, leading to the far end hall that has a fire escape ladder to get out from. As the infected ponies destroyed the planks and would get inside, they then made a gallop towards the second floor after AppleCrust and Jed. Jed then saw this while they were in the room, and knowing they won't have time to barricade the door with the dresser in there, he then just slammed it shut and decided to hold it with his whole strength and his back against the door, and he's pushing it towards it. As both him and AppleCrust have one last conversation before AppleCrust escapes through one out the fire escape with right hoof out the window as he sits and talks to Jed one final time before leaving. Listen, kid, I'm 60 years old, and I believe I won't have a lot of time left until I'm in a retirement home or end up dead. I understand you care about me as a friend, and I appreciate it, but I've been to war before, and I've looked at the death in the face multiple times. I just laughed at it and told it to go screw itself, and somehow managed to survive and be alive, Jed said as he holds the door still with his back as the punches and pushes from the infected ponies get stronger from the crowding the hallway. While Jed is worried, he still keeps his determination and still holds them back as he knows that he won't make it out alive from this. You got your whole life ahead of you still, Apple. Just remember my advices, knowledges, and all that I told you. This is the end of the line for me. Thank you, Jed. You're a wonderful and good friend to have. AppleCrust says as he then now runs down the fire escape route before the door breaks open. Jed then said in a low voice as he accepts his death and tries fighting off the zombies with his final last words. You too, kid. You too. As Jed said his final words, the zombies then broke down the door, in which staggers him. He managed to get back up and began to fight back against the wave of zombies. He took down 2 to 3, but he will still be outnumbered, and they overwhelmed him and began to eat him. Jed's screams were then heard outside, and AppleCrust was already on the ground floor as he heard his friend's screams of pain and agony. With tears in his eyes, he then ran out of the alley from the side of his bar and head towards the community shelter for safety. As he was going down the street along with other citizens of Manhattan, he saw some Earthsiders fighting them off and buying some time for their friends and family to run to the shelter, along with some being overwhelmed and starting to be eaten or already dead and is being eaten alive. This felt like a complete nightmare and war zone to AppleCrust as he hears screams, glass shattering, buildings getting blown up, and along with other horrifying things happening. Along the way towards the community shelter, he stopped by an alley since some pony caught the corner of his eye that needs help. As he backed up a little and looked down the alley, he saw a pink earth pony mare that has no mane, hair, or tail, as if they were have been cut or shaved off, and her kidney mark being a cloud. The most terrifying worrying part is that her eyes are bandaged, and it looks like she couldn't see, and she is dirty as if she just came out from somewhere that isn't clean, in which her coat is dirty as if she came out from somewhere that isn't clean, in which AppleCrust feels bad for her situation and wants to help her get to the shelter. As he was about to help her, a zombie came out from the corner and walked towards her. AppleCrust had to think fast, and so he saw a pipe on a cardboard box that he picked up. He then threw it with all his might and strength to create a good velocity and accuracy to his throw. Though he threw it into the air, and it started to come back down from where the pink mare is standing. AppleCrust was extremely worried and scared that he's gonna hurt her instead of the zombie, but the pink mare hopped out of the way and the zombie lunged from where she was standing. And when the pipe hit the zombie's head hard enough, their head busted open, and the mare just took some deep breaths and continued her way towards the street. This took AppleCrust by surprise, as he felt like it was out of nowhere for the mare to get out of the way for the zombie and dodge like that, as if she can feel the zombie's presence and get out of the way on time while she's blindfolded with bandages wrapped around her eyes. Before he could speak, the mare walked up to him while waddling a little. "Hello, are you the one who stopped that zombie from biting or attacking me?" she said in a calm but also a bit shocked voice. AppleCrust then answered her question as he is still in his surprised and shocked state. "Yes, I am. But we need to get out of here since there are zombies all around. We need to get to the emergency community shelter. Would you like me to help you lay on my back as I carry you there, miss?" The pink mare then smiles as to show that she trusts him, as she then says in a calm and collected voice, "Sure thing. I know that we are strangers and are to each other, but you saved my life, so I can trust you and be friends with you now. Now, I don't remember my original name since I was kidnapped at the age of 16. However, I do have a nickname my captors gave me. They called me Quiet. What's your name, kind sir?" AppleCrust then calmed down a little, but still wondering how she knew when to get out of the way without saying anything or either about the zombie that was behind her. Along with still wanting to get to the shelter before they get caught by one of the infected. As Quiet climbs onto AppleCrust's back, he then introduces himself to her once she's on his back. My name is AppleCrust. It's really nice to meet you, Quiet. We will get to know each other later as friends, but right now, let's get towards the community shelter before any of us become a zombie's lunch. Quiet then nervously giggled at AppleCrust's little joke. AppleCrust then ran towards the community shelter that is just right down the street near the outskirts of Manhattan, even though he was weighed down a bit from carrying Quiet, as he never carried a grown mare before on his back. He was still determined to make it to the shelter with Quiet on his back. A few minutes later, after reaching the shelter and seeing some horrifying sights of death here and there, both of them made it inside the shelter of the corridor entryway to the shelter. As the outside door closes for a moment, and the scanners on the inside quickly scanned every pony in the entryway for signs of infection of any kind. While it was doing the scanning, he heard constant gunshots from the automated turrets that activated outside as protecting this virus at the door, while taking the infected down, the infected trying to attack any survivors at the door. After it completed its scan, the door then outside opened for every pony to get into the bunker, while guards with guns in standby and get everyone in while assisting the injured for any signs of infection or not. Quiet did get off of his back and went with the nurses and doctors to the medical hospital bay in a gurney, while AppleCrust heads to the cafeteria with other survivors in order to settle down and get in an assigned room with the possibility of having to have a roommate with any pony. Now both can rest easily and relax for now. As the Friendship Express train stops at the Crystal Empire, and it has been a 14-hour ride back home from Manhattan, Cobal just woken up and took some time to think about where he is going to. When he just remembered now that he's going back to the work to face the music of being yelled and scolded by the captain of the Crystal Empire. As the train stopped, Cobal then grabbed his stuff and got off the train, heading towards the castle. Once he was off the train, the Crystal Empire guards were waiting for him to escort him back to the castle, but they were interrupted by another guard pony, letting them know that about some alarming news about what's happening in the market district of the Crystal Empire. Cobal, we need you to come to the castle so that the captain can have a word with... Excuse me, and I'm very sorry to interrupt this detainment here, but we have a huge emergency regarding the market district, and we need all the possible guards available for this riot. The guards' faces then changed from a mad to an alarmed expression for the moment from hearing the news. We are on it now. And since we can't, or any guard can bring you, Cobal, to the captain regarding your employment with us, we need you to walk your flank over to the castle now. If you're not there when this riot is contained and over, we will put out a warrant for your arrest and you'll go to jail. Do we make ourselves clear? The male crystal guard said to Cobal in an alarmed and mad voice to Cobal. He then replied to the officer's orders and answered them in a depressed and sad tone. I understand and will go there now. He said that as he finished answering to the guards. They then turned around and galloped back to the market district to handle and de-escalate the huge situation and problem with the citizens of the Crystal Empire. As Cobal now begins to walk towards the castle too, while feeling down and depressed. While he's walking towards the castle near the market district, he saw guards trying to calm down the riot due to ponies acting extremely strange that's not considered normal behavior. While seeing attacks and screams come down from the street as he walks by. He did saw the guards from earlier too, but they are having issues containing the crowd to calm down and go about their day. However, one of them got scratched and bitten by one of the civilians, and Cobal has one idea to confirm why they are acting this way. As he is watching from one end of the block of the street, he saw a shop owner pony get chased out and pinned to the ground outside, as his attention is now on both the shop owner and an infected pony. As he watches, he notices that the stallion was bitten and scratched too, and that he can turn any minute, and this confirmed that they are zombies. The shop owner pony reached out a hoof for Cobal to help him get the infected mare pony off that was trying to devour his flesh more. Cobal didn't even try to help, but just stood there and watched a little before continuing his walk to the castle. He doesn't know why he didn't help out that pony, but one part of him feels like that he doesn't care about another pony's life anymore and that he's not bothered by it at all. It feels like something inside of him has broken, and now he can barely feel any emotions whatsoever. As Cobal got to the castle of the Crystal Empire, he sees a castle butler carrying baby Lyra Heart to the emergency community shelter near the outskirts of the Crystal Empire, while Shane Armor and Princess Cadence is lagging behind due to an illness that Cadence got. She looked like a complete mess and has a possible high temperature. Shane Armor looks worried for her and was trying to help her safely get to the shelter, but once he saw Cobal, his worry turned to anger and let his wife take a rest while he quickly tells that Cobal is terminated and fired from being a royal guard or guard of any kind. You got a lot of nerve for trying to make a move like that on my baby sister, you know that? Shane Armor said in a loud and angry tone while walking towards Cobal. He then stopped in front of him and continued talking, while Cobal just stands there looking at him unfazed by his anger. He already knows that he's in a lot of trouble and that even when he tries to explain his actions or something to some pony, it just falls on deaf ears, and he feels like his boss won't even listen to him at all now. That is not how you treat anyone at all! Even if you have a crush on them, it's still bad and wrong to make a move on a royal figure like that. Also, not coming back immediately from your trip to Ponyville just to go drink your sorry flank and problems away while you're on the job? Cobal still making eye contact with Shine Armor and not showing any air emotion except a blank stare as he is listening to him and not answering his question. This enraged and made Shine Armor more angry as he then said, "Not gonna say anything, you little flank? So, you meant to do it? You are fired and are no longer to go near me, my wife, my daughter, or any of my family members. You will be arrested on sight no matter what. How would you like to have missing teeth?" Before Shine Armor can throw a punch at Cobal, Cobal quickly backed away once Princess Cadence grabbed his right hoof that was about to punch him. She quickly took a bite at his neck as Shine is turning his head to face her, only for him to be bleeding from his neck and couldn't scream in pain as a chunk of his neck was bitten off by his own wife. However, as he is dying, he saw that his wife Cadence look is a little different now. Her mane and coat colors have dimmed down to a more gloomy color than her bright colors as her eyes have turned pitch black. Whoever that this is, it's not Cadence anymore, and something has infected or taken over her body. Shining Armor did try to release himself from her jaws, but he's already losing too much blood, and he then died. Princess Cadence then opened up a portal, walking down through it into the catacombs under the Crystal Empire. While using magic to carry and levitate the lifeless body of Shining Armor, and then the portal closed behind him. Cobal was a little shocked and surprised by this turn of events, but he ran into the castle for safety, as it looks like the infected are now showing up near the castle. Before the castle's front doors closed, along with other survivors seeking shelter inside, he then saw one of the royal guards stand there in shock and paralyzed by the events of what happened between Shining Armor and Princess Cadence, until a zombie tackles him and starts to bite him as other zombies join in too. Meanwhile, back in Camelot in the castle, Princess Celestia is mourning over the loss of her baby sister Luna. She started feeling emotions of regret and guilt for not being able to protect her in her dream realm, while she sits on her throne and waits for the ponies who have reports that she used banned magic to bring her sister back to life, to have a long talk with her and talk about the consequences of her actions. The same bat pony of Luna's that witnessed that didn't report her actions to the ponies of Equestrian Chaos Industry, but they got some machines that scanned the strong band power essence that picked up on the scanner of Celestia's magic that she casted. Hold on a second. As Celestia started crying and mourning the loss of her sister, the female royal bat pony guard was gonna comfort and try to help her out as a friend, but they got interrupted when one of Celestia's royal guard ponies came rushing in with bad news to bear about all over Equestria with what's happening at the moment now. Celestia's royal... Your Highness, we have a huge situation. A deadly virus has caused an outbreak in the Crystal Empire in Manhattan and is now spreading more across the lands of Equestria. The guard said as Celestia is now completely shocked from hearing this, along with the other guards in the room. Celestia then has to put on a strong and brave face and mourn for her sister Lyra, as now her land of Equestria is in grave danger. We must send a letter to every creature to make sure they seek shelter and safety, and to wait until a cure is made in order to get rid of this virus. I'll also cast a shield spell that I use for Cadence's wedding, but mostly preventing the infected from entering Camelot at all cost. As Princess Celestia makes a letter for a warning to every creature in her land, she then made 1 billion copies of them all and teleported them to everyone to read quickly and to get this somewhere safely. Meanwhile, her and her scientists and medical staff, who are the top-notch graduates to find a cure for the virus and the infected ponies too. Meanwhile, in Ponyville, the residents are running towards... Meanwhile, in Ponyville, the residents are running towards the outskirts of Ponyville, the community shelter that was secretly built and out of every pony's view when it just appeared now. Lyra and her fiancé Bonbon, who is infected and is about to turn in about 30 minutes, are running towards the shelter, since there is a section of the shelter that has a containment area for infected individuals to stay and wait for a cure to cure them in order to continue living, and from where no creature or pony can get in or out without authorization. Visiting is allowed, but not allowed to physically interact with their loved ones or friends too, till they are cured from the virus and from being infected. Come on, Bonnie, we are almost there. They are gonna give you the help that you need, cure you, and finally we will get married. Bonbon didn't say anything, but she did smile at her and is happy to be engaged with her. As the engaged couple got to the shelter, they both then got stopped by Lyra's childhood bully, who bullied her back in middle school. Well, look who it is. It's Miss I Believe Humans Are Real with Heartstrings. And who is this? Your girlfriend? Me and my fiance need to get into that bunker and get her the help that she needs. In order for us to get married, you jerkwad, Lyra said in an annoyed voice that turns towards Ruffle as she is worried about her fiance dying and become a zombie. Ruffle was shocked a little to see her stand up for herself, but he did something extremely scummy and unforgivable that will come back to bite him. Well, I have a present for your fiance, Lyra Heartstrings. Ruffle then quickly pulled out his gun with his unicorn magic and shot Bonbon in the head, that she fell to her side and he laughed, while Lyra is crying in shock from losing her fiance right in front of her eyes, as she kneels down and holds her in her arms. Her host. Bonbon! No! Bonbon! Please, wake up! Don't go, please! I love you! You're the only one for me! Lyra then stands up again, and with complete anger and hatred towards Ruffle, she was about to attack him, but some guards from the shelter took her into the shelter as they dragged her away to not stay outside for so long, in order to not get infected from any pony else. Since they thought Bonbon was completely turned to a zombie, but she wasn't at that stage yet, as she was being dragged into the shelter for safety, and some guards started to put Bonbon in a body bag. Ruffle then said the most scummiest words ever that no pony should ever be said to. It satisfies and makes me very happy to see ponies get upset and beat down. I'll just love ruining ponies' lives and making them miserable as hell. If I can't be happy, then no pony else deserves happiness too.